I see a couple popping in here. If everybody could do me one favor, just for a logistics perspective, if you can put your computer on mute or your phone on mute um, as we go through the presentation. If you have questions, just go ahead and put those in the chat. And I've also included a little bit of time at the end where you guys can ask questions and we can have some open dialogue. So I see a good number still joining. I'll probably have to say all that again. Um, but I do want to get this started so that we can certainly leave time for questions. My name is Kenny Hallas. I'm the program director for college recruiting at Charlotte Independence. Debbie Brooks is also on the phone with us or on this call, and she's going to be able to answer any chats for us or be able to kind of facilitate that for us as we go. And again, I'll leave time at the end for questions. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And again, just hold your questions till we'll have a couple of breaks in here where you guys can ask things, okay? So first thing, the agenda for this call is really just introduction of myself so you know who I am, and when you see me out at the fields, you know what my role is. We're going to talk about College Fit Finder and maximizing that as a team and as an individual player. So we'll hit a couple of good points on that. Then we're going to talk about showcase preparation. So things for you guys to focus on, and also some tips around video highlights. I'll give you guys some feedback there. And then last thing, I wanted to make sure everybody's aware, we've set the date for the Charlotte Independence ID Boys Camp. That is open up on Player Metrics, and there's a discount for folks to register for that sooner than later. So we'll hit all these points and obviously answer any questions we can. First, my role with the Charlotte Independence is, and the key word here is to be a resource for you guys to help you guide you through the college soccer opportunities. There's many different ways to go about this. My way is not always the best way. There's a million different ways. But the idea here is I'm a resource to try to help you guys through the process of communicating with college coaches, getting the widest net cast that you can, and kind of helping you navigate the process when you get stuck. Again, here to help you guys as we approach the showcase season. One of the things that I am going to do is be an advocate for our players when we're out at the showcases. So I'll be on the sidelines with some of the college coaches. Obviously, I'll talk with your coaches. So it's really important that you guys are communicating with your coaches on the schools you're interested in. If you can copy me on emails, you can blind copy me or regular copy me, that's fine. It just kind of logs so I know who's player A is looking at school B, and I can kind of make connections for you guys there. I'll also be the point person for running our college ID camp in February. So you guys will be able to communicate and have contact with me there as well. And at the end of the day, create other opportunities to expose our players to college coaches. And that'll be one of the things that we try to do, where we bring some college coaches in for training sessions and things like that. That last piece is probably, as we look at the prioritization of things in the short term, that's probably lower on the priority list. I want to really spend my time with you guys today to help connect you and get everybody set up for success as we approach the showcase events. My contact information is there. I think most of you have that anyway. But if you ever need me, feel free to email me. Obviously, texting me at that number is fine. I will respond as quick as I can. I think a lot of the players have my number anyway, but I'm here to help you guys out any way I can. So as we go forward here, we're going to start with the College Fit Finding tool. And I don't know how many of you have actually used this tool in the past, but it's a great place to do some of your beginning search of colleges that you want to attend. It shares some vital information about how big the school is. It talks about the cost of the school. And it gives you a place where you can kind of go and search for schools. Now, FitFinder should not be the only tool you're using to research and navigate schools, but it's a great place to start. Uh, One of the things that I highly recommend that players do is when you find, if you guys can put your phone on mute, that would be awesome. Whoever's kind of like navigating through some paper there, thank you. Um, One of the things I really would encourage folks to do is I like to say 5, 5, and 5. Create 5 schools that are reach schools for you, schools that you inspire to go to. They're your top priority schools. 5 schools that you really think you can go play at, and being honest about kind of where you are in your development and where you could fit into that school. And then 5 um, definite I can go play at schools. And all that does is create a net for you of, hey, I'm at least looking across all the spectrums. I really try to talk to players about, don't go into this going, I have to be a D1 player. There's nothing wrong with being a D1 player, but I think that if you evaluate all of the options, you will see that there are different opportunities out there for everyone. And college is all about finding the right fit. And so I'd really encourage you to um, start the process by looking at schools, creating a list of 5, 5, and 5, and then it will help you kind of navigate the process a little bit easier. You can look at how far schools are away from you, how far away from home you want to travel, things like that. Majors, all those kind of things. Okay, so there's the basics of College Fit Finder. It's a tool that the club has for all the members. Okay, so it's a great place to start your navigating. So now we're going to talk about how this starts to get you to showcases and why it's so important. As you log into College Fit Finder, the information there is the emails or the URLs right there. Your username and login is your first name, last name, all lower cases, no spaces. And then if you have challenges with that, sometimes adding a 1 or 2 after that gets you in, but your username and your password are the exact same the first time you log in. The second, you can change your password after you go in, okay, and that'll present itself for you right there. But here is the most important part of the call, where I want to spend a majority of the time, where I have the big star, you guys. So when you get into your profile, the most important thing to do before we go to the showcases, and this isn't one day before the showcase, it's not a week before the showcase, it's now. Okay, it's 4 weeks before we go to the showcase, 3 weeks before we go. Go into your profile and first make sure you have a good updated headshot picture of yourself. The reason that we want these 6 or 7 bullets that I'm about to go through is this is the profile sheet that the team managers are going to walk around and hand to college coaches. So your profile needs to be correct so that when they look out on the field and they see number 24 and the face doesn't match the number, that's not a good thing. Okay. And you guys would be blown away of how much this happens. So very important. Your profile information has got to be extremely accurate. Make sure it's a good picture, not one you took in the car on the way to the game and you loaded it up, right? Get it in front of a white wall or pale wall, whatever. Make sure it's clean, no hat on, no sunglasses. Good picture, current picture, not when you were in 5th grade. Okay. Make sure your number is accurate. Make sure your email and your cell number are on there, and your cell number has dashes where it's supposed to be, not all one long number. Your graduation year is accurate. This, to me, is one of the most critical things that I see players have incorrect. They put, you know, they don't have a number on there. It's 1 year off. It's super important that this is accurate. 2023s are the ones graduating this year. 24s are the ones next year. I'll come back and cover all these in total for you in a second. But your SAT, ACT, and GPA. If you haven't taken ACT and SAT, that's okay. You can leave that blank. but make sure your GPA is in there. And then any comments in the section, accolades you want to know. Hey, I was in the ECNL. I was named to an ECNL all region team, or I was high school all region team, or any of those kind of accolades. Hey, I averaged 8 goals last season and 3 assists. Things that you'd want a college coach to know right away. So why is all this stuff important? Again, the team managers are going to be walking around handing out it's a 1-pager, 2-pager, whatever, that has all our players that are participating in the event. And the college coaches get this and they will quickly glance through it and circle. Let's say I'm Wofford College and I'm looking, they might be done with 2023s. I don't know for sure, but they might be just looking at 2024s. They're just going to go through, circle those quick, and then they're going to look and go, hey, 24, 7, and 12 are the 3 guys I need to look at. Or they're going to walk up and they have an email from you that said, hey, I'm going to be playing on field 12 at 3 o'clock. They walk up to field 12 at 3 o'clock and they're trying to find you. So if your information is incorrect and they can't find you, I'm going to tell you they're going to waste about 30 seconds and then they're going to the next guy. So this to me is, out of this entire call, if you can update these 6 things, all players on all teams have this accurate inside of Fit Finder, we're setting your team up and each individual up for casting the best net at the showcase. Okay. So this is very, very critical for us. Before I kind of go deep into College Fit Finder, and there's actually a webinar out there that how to use it, how you can look at different schools and things like that. I want to kind of go and look in the chat here. And Debbie, is there any questions that have popped up in there yet that we need to address regarding Fit Finder?
No, not necessarily regarding Fit Finder, but would you enter the weighted GPA?
I would enter, yes, I'd enter a weighted GPA.
Would you do both?
Yeah, you can do some, it seems like every high school does these things a little bit different in states. So you might want to go, hey, I'm a 3.4 out of 4, or you might want to go, I'm a 3.4 out of 5. Whatever you want to put in there. Most of the schools are going off of 4 out of the 4s. Like 3.3 out of 4. That's what I see a lot of. Any other questions out there? See if I throw up the chat.
How do we make an account? Okay, you can send me an email at Debbie B, and I'll put it in the chat at the end of this, but and I can look up your username and login information. And actually we'll send along this video. We're recording this and we'll send it on to everyone. And in the PowerPoint, there is some instructions on how to log in.
Everybody already has an account set up, you guys. So we've already done that. The password is what your username is. But we've all of the you 15, 16, 17s, and 19s have been set up across the club. Okay. And if for some reason somebody was missed or added late, we can certainly add them. It's not something we can absolutely do that on each of the teams. Okay. Any other questions here before we move on? Let's see, username, password. Okay. We're going to move on to the next part here. And showcase preparation. So a couple things around the showcase that I would highly recommend that everybody takes a look at. And these are like 5, 6 things that I think about when kids are going to showcase that I tell them that they need to do to be successful. First thing is you want to be contacting, looking at which college coaches are attending. Okay, so a lot of times if you're going to like the NCFC showcase, they're in soccer and college, and on their website, they list all the schools that are going to go. It's another great way to kind of expand your net of schools that you're looking at. You may not have looked at them in Fit Finder. You may have browsed down through that list and saw Rhodes College in Tennessee, in Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, I didn't even think of that school, and I'm brilliant. I have a 4.0 GPA and my SAT is perfect. Might be a great place to look at. So as you're looking at where the schools are, which schools are coming to the showcase, it's a great thing to go back into Fit Finder and cross reference, and then maybe you add to your list of 5, 5, and 5 that we talked about earlier. Um, the second thing is once you kind of have the schools that you want to be communicating with, maybe you've been to an ID camp of theirs, maybe you've met the coach somewhere before, um, start to email those coaches once the schedules of the tournament come out. And in your email, it needs to be succinct. You can't write a book here. You need to go, hey, this is Kenny Hallas. I play for Charlotte Independence, 04, 05 ECNL team. I'll be attending the NCFC showcase. I just received my game schedule. Here's my games, my times, the locations. And I always like to say, finish selling, you guys. Would you be able to make one of my games? And yes, you're sending that out 3 weeks in advance. A lot of times the schedules are out that far in advance for these big events. A week before the event, you should be following up saying if they haven't responded to you, maybe follow up and go, hey, I'm just following back up. Have you been able to make your schedule yet? Is there any of these games you'd be able to make? So with that, now that you're sending an email, and this is just something I find with teenagers, I guess. I'm kind of putting you all in a big group here. You guys don't use email as much as you use text and other Snapchat and all that kind of stuff. You got to check your email daily. Okay. Um, and be seeing if the coach is asking you for any additional information. So certainly in your first email and your follow-up email, you want to tell them what number you are, but you got to make sure you're checking your email. My other advice here is this is not the parent's task. This is the player's task. This is the time for the player to take accountability and be able to know who they're communicating with. Certainly, a parent can help check the email and the content, but players, you guys got to be accountable for this stuff. Because when a college coach walks up to you and starts talking to you, and you have no idea that you emailed them because your mom or dad emailed them, that's not a good thing. So be accountable and know who you're communicating with and keep a track of it. The last, a couple other things here. Again, this is not to anything against parents on this part of it, but at the showcases, you'll see the coaches all kind of grouping together, and they'll group inside of in one section. That is not the place for the parents to kind of go insert themselves and have a conversation about their son or daughter. Okay. When they want to talk to the players, they're going to go approach them right at the event. A lot of them don't approach at the event. They might follow up with an email, or they might go back to their hotel room that night and text them or send them an email. And that's why it goes back to point 2, check your emails. Make sure the information is correct on your profile, because then you could use that next day to follow up with that coach. Okay. Um, and then if you do talk to coaches while you're at the showcase, make sure you follow up with them when you get back home. It might be Monday or Tuesday, but have a follow-up email of, hey, Coach X, I appreciate your time at the Saturday game. Let me know anything that you saw in there. I'd love to hear more about your school, and can we set up a visit? Be proactive and be asking if they're on your list. Be asking for the opportunity to go to that school. Okay, so I'm going to pause there for a second and kind of go back to see if there's any questions around showcase preparation as a player. Does anybody have any questions there? Feel free to put them in the chat. Ooh, quiet bunch. Come on, y'all. You all can't be experts on this already. All right. Well, we'll keep moving along here. And again, we'll leave some time at the end where you guys can ask questions. Okay, so video highlight tips. Inside of Fit Finder, there is a spot where you can put your highlight film, your a URL for that. Um, Here are some tips around. I'll get to that question there, Danny, um, on the no responses after we go through the video highlights. So video highlights. These are my personal tips from when I've reviewed highlight films from players in the past. Every coach has a different view of this, um, but my guidance on they shouldn't be more than 3 to 5 minutes long. Um, I like to see some kind of player profile at the very beginning of it, like your height, weight, grad year, GPA, club name, uniform number, because a lot of times the highlights that follow are clips that are 3 seconds long or 5 seconds long. And I'm trying to find the person and they put a circle, but the circle covered two people. So I like to really say, hey, make sure that you are given kind of a highlight. So, hey, I'm looking for number three all the time now when I'm looking at this highlight film. The next thing is, what are the attributes you want to show? If you're a center back, make sure you're showing attributes of a center back. Um, it was kind of ironic. I looked at a film today of a center back, and the first thing I saw was a goal. And I'm like, great, my center back scoring goals. Okay, click next guy. Like match it to what you're promoting about yourself. I want to see a center back clearing balls. I want to see someone strong winning 50-50 tackles. Midfielders distributing the ball, movement, goals, things like that. Forwards beating somebody 1v1, attacking runs, all those kind of things. Attributes about the position. Those are important things to show in your video. Um, I would highly recommend showing the video at regular speed. Um, when you slow it down and it's like you're showing your move in slow motion, that's awesome for you. But like the college coach doesn't like they don't really care. Um, Show the move at regular speed. They'll be determining. They're seeing what kind of skills you have out of that. I like to see personally, if someone's showing me a goal, I like to see 3 to 5 seconds before they got the ball, and then 3 to 5 seconds after they put it in the net, or 3 to 5 seconds after they perform the skill, so I can see what happened. Um, a lot of times, the coaches will come back to you and ask for either full game highlights or half game highlights, so that they can actually see you in motion in the entire game. Um, the music part. So again, this is just personal, but there's nothing for me like if I turn on there's profanity in the video, I'm probably clicking done and go to the next guy. Um, or if it's some kind of music that's just not appealing, I'm probably turning it off. You're trying to sell yourself. So I would be really careful on what you have as your background music. There's nothing wrong with having background music, but like don't make that the priority of the video. Um, and then the last thing I kind of mentioned this earlier, have a half game, full game video ready. If the coach comes to you and says, hey, I really liked your highlight film, I'd really love to see a half of you playing. So know which game you're going to select to send to them at that point, because you're going to want to be able to respond really quickly there. So I'm going to pause again here and let's see if we can hit some of the questions that might be over in the chat. How often do you reach out if you receive no response? I would say I'd give it at least a week. I'd also understand where that team is in the season. So, for instance, if somebody is emailing Clemson today, if you should not be expecting a response in the next week. They're in the middle of the ACC tournament. They're going to be prepping for the national tournament most likely. They're probably not too concerned with their recruits right now. So understand that prioritization of where the school is. If the school season just ended on Saturday and you sent an email on Sunday, probably not going to respond to you on Monday, right? So you just got to be realistic around when you have that communication. Um, let's see, the next one is if you don't have your video ready, can you still reach out to coaches for the showcase? Yes, absolutely, you can. I would highly recommend juniors and seniors be reaching out. Um, you should have some video. You should be working on that video because they're going to ask for it. Um, but you don't have to have it right now. It will, if you have a very short video, let's say it's just 1 minute long, that's probably better than nothing because it'll at least entice them to want to come to one of your games. Um, on Norma there. Do freshmen communicate with coaches? You can, but they're not gonna. There's some rules and regulations depending upon which level they're at about how much they can actually do with you. We do have a document that we're posting out on um, Play Metrics that talks about communication in each of the years, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. So we'll get you guys the link to that. And it's a good little document that shows you what you should be doing in each of the 4 years. Okay. Um, let's see. If there's any, do we have to record a video for ourselves or do we have to upload it? I'm not quite sure of that question. Do you have to record a video for yourselves? Um,
Can't they use their trace videos if they're using trace or?
Yes, yes, there is a way to take your trace highlights and directly upload that into College Fit Finder. Um, I have not done that myself at this point or seen a player do that. I do know that it has the capability. I know it is also in the training video that we talked about with College Fit Finder, but I have not been able to kind of narrow that scope down and give that answer. But I do know the capability is there to do it. Okay. Okay, any other questions around video highlights? All right. All right, so last topic here of the day on the agenda is our college ID, save the date, February 20th, and that is a Monday, by the way. Um, and so I will say that not everybody's going to have found their landing place by February. I'm pretty confident there. The signing time for players, the seniors moving on, is going to be a very free flowing thing this year. I was talking to a couple coaches about this week, and with the number of players that are going to go in the transfer portal, plus the number of internationals that are going to be in the process of being looked at and all of these showcases, I think you're going to have a little bit longer of a signing period than the norm. So the first thing I would say is don't panic. There should be no panic at this point. Showcases haven't even begun. College seasons are just ending. So you're not behind, but you got to get your stuff in order. Okay. So that communication, identifying schools that you have interest in, looking at the schools that are going to be at the showcases, communicating with them, sharing your roster, checking your email. All of those things will lead to positive opportunities. And then, hey, maybe the college ID camp is something that'll hone it in for you. So I'd encourage everybody to go sign up for that. It's out there on Play Metrics under the programs. It's $95 up through January 1st. Then it'll go up in price. We are capping it at 120 players. So I really encourage juniors and seniors to get out there and get involved in this. Register for the camp as soon as you can. Freshmen and sophomore can absolutely participate in this. To get the experience of a college ID camp, be in front of college coaches, and have the opportunity to talk to them. Since it is our ID camp, obviously we're going to really promote this to our players first. So we'd really like to see folks out there registering in this as soon as possible. We'll be doing quite a bit of social media advertising here in the next couple of weeks. So finishing up here, very open this up for questions inside of the chat. And certainly if you don't want to type it in, you want to speak up now, you absolutely can. Like I mentioned earlier, or Debbie mentioned this earlier, we're gonna put this presentation, this webinar out on Playmetrics so that you can rewatch it again if you'd like. Also other club resource, it'll be under club resources. that timeline that we talked about, freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors, that's going to be out there. And also the video to college fit binder will be out there. Um, I I really want to put pressure on the juniors and seniors. Make sure your profiles are updated. We're having a meeting next week with your coaches, and we're really going to be driving them to push them to make sure that those profile pages are really good, so that when our team managers are out there handing out the player profile sheets for the team, they're accurate. And then you have my word that I'll be at some of these showcases and certainly be working the sidelines for players that have had conversations with me on the side. I'll be at some trainings here over the next couple of weeks. Just got to let me know. Um, the other important part of that is it's very important to let your coach know if you know a college coach is coming to the game, so that they might be looking you at as a right back. Let's say you play in the midfield. You need to let your coach know that conversations happened, and I'm pretty sure your club coach would help you out by maybe playing you in that right back position for that game, at the help of letting that college coach see you in that position. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to the chats. The save the date college ID is also for freshmen. It is for freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. Juniors and seniors have priority. Um, the priority is that you all know about it now and you can go sign up now. So that's the priority. We're rolling this out inside our club first and really encouraging our players to sign up. Will all teams cancel games the weekend of college ID camp? The college ID camp is on a Monday, so that it is not overlapping any of the team play. And it's one of the things, it's actually why we're a little bit later in the process. We really had to work through all these schedules, and this was the best time to have the camp. We honestly, we'd prefer to have this in November, December, but this was the first time where we feel like we can get a good number of college coaches here, plus not have teams playing. All right, any other questions out there? We got a good number of folks on here, so I want to give you guys a few minutes here to ask any questions.
The
Go on,
camp
Kate.
date is actually on President's Day, so, you know, a lot of the kids are out of
Yeah.
school that day.
Yep.
But you should be able to find the sign up link on the website under events, or if you just log into your Playmetrics account, you'll be able to register your player for that camp.
Okay, I'm just scrolling down here, see if there's any other questions. All right, you guys, if there are no other questions, we will end the call. I will say we're going to do this identical call on Sunday at 7:30. So if something pops for you between now and then that you have a question, feel free to just jump on that call, throw it in the chat. Certainly, you can jump on the later half of the call if you want, or you can send myself you can send me an email or send me a text, and I'll try to help you out. But hopefully this was helpful for you guys to prep for those showcases, and I look forward to seeing everybody out at the fields. All right, thank you all.